What's up, everybody? I wanted to do a little product review today on the Hayes Dominion A4 brake. It's a 4-piston brake. It's just come out from Hayes. Hayes made disc brakes a million years ago. They were one of the first. They kind of fell off everybody's radar, but they've been hyping the crap out of these, and I read all the hype and I decided I'll try it out. If I can find a good price on one. I saw the list price was like 220 bucks, and I was like, nope, that's not gonna happen. But then I found a skate shop in like Wisconsin or somewhere. Anyway, there was a skate shop that had a pair of them, and they were selling for 120 bucks, brand new. So I was like, all right, I can do that. So I bought this one, and came in. It's pretty nice looking. I usually run Magura MT5s, so basically I'm only comparing it to the MT5s because that's the most familiar brake that I have. Right out of the gate, they're heavier than the MT5, the full system, the blade and the calipers. It's heavier by like 40 grams, which is kind of significant in the braking world, because the MT5s are not even on the lighter end of the spectrum. But anyway, regardless of that, slapped them on. They worked amazing right out of the box. The first 2 weeks were amazing. I was in love. Everything was going great. I checked with the shop that I got it from, and they still had another one for the rear, the long hose. So I got the other one for 120 bucks as well, because I figured that's a pretty good price, and I could at least turn it around if nothing else. So I got another one for this bike, and that's when everything kind of changed, because this one right out of the box was not awesome. I'm using them on, this one's on a Magura rotor, and this one is on a Hope rotor, the symmetrical rotor. So, I mean, they come with their own rotors. They came with 180, and I needed a 203 on the first one. This one is 180, but I didn't feel like changing it. And I think that brakes should be interchangeable with different rotors. You should be able to use aftermarket rotors, as long as they're not some super crappy, you know, the wrong kind of metal rotor. I mean, Hope and Magura, they know what they're doing. They make good rotors. So I don't think it's down to the rotor, but this one wasn't awesome. This one had some issues. It didn't really feel all that great, and it never really has. I've kind of played with it. I'm not going to bleed it, because these are DOT fluid. They're like car brake fluid as opposed to Maguras, which use mineral oil. And I didn't feel like getting the whole kit and everything just to bleed it, because I don't know. So this one's kind of undecided. This one's still going strong. It's maybe been almost 2 months. Almost 2 months I think I've been on it, and like riding daily, because, you know, quarantine, we got nothing better to do. It's really started to fade. I started to put it down to the pads that come with it are not their super awesome downhill pads. They're the regular pads. They're the red backed pads as opposed to the copper backed pads. They call it the semi-metallic as opposed to the metallic, which is their downhill super awesome. And luckily I've just gotten in the metallics, so I'm going to be changing them over and see if that helps out. But I don't believe the hype anymore on these, sadly. It turns out they're just another brake. I'll show you a little adjustment thing. They have this cool little adjustment. They have like little set screws that you can adjust, you know, to, I don't know, to make it a little bit easier to set up your brake. And, you know, people who set up their brakes all the time, yeah, it's great. Most people who just set it up once, no big deal, really. I was a little bored, so I took one of my Maguras and I actually drilled it out and tapped it and then put set screws in. And now my Magura, which is lighter, has the little adjustable set screws too. So I don't know, that's not all worth it. Then we'll go talk about the lever now. Here's some glamour shots of the caliper. You can see the little set screws that allow you to adjust it so you can get it perfect on your rotor and tighten them down. It's kind of nice, you know, you kind of loosen them out and then put some tension on your caliper and then tighten them as you look down until it's exactly centered. And that's about as good as you can get. It's pretty nice. I mean, you know, the bronze color I think was a bit gutsy. But there you go. It only comes in this color that I know of. But pretty standard. The pads are nice and big. I'll show you the pads. But yeah, there you go. There's the Dominion A4. Okay, so here's the lever for the A4 Dominion. you know, it's got your lever reach adjust is this dial here, which is really nice and it works. And then there's another adjustment screw in here that I guess is kind of like the bite point adjustment, or it adjusts where the brake engages in the stroke. But I didn't really find that it did much. It's kind of the same problem with the MT7s, is that, you know, that adjuster doesn't really do much. Maybe I'm just not sensitive enough, or maybe it's for less trials-oriented riding. But I didn't find that this adjuster did really anything at all. But this adjuster is great. It's kind of out of the way. You're not going to break it. I'm not crazy about this style of master cylinder. You know, they're really long. I don't think it's very aesthetically pleasing, but it does get the job done. You know, it is what it is. I guess it's heavier than an MT5 though. And the lever feel is what the lever feel was what all the hype was about in the beginning. And I mean, it's nice and solid. You know, there's no up and down play, which is really nice. It's a nice, it's a metal lever. It feels really good. You can adjust it to exactly where you want it. You know, it has a point where it feels very solid. You know, it's locked up right there when you grab it, but you could still pull it a lot more. So it doesn't have that the old school V-brake feel of, you know, like you get to a point and it's just like it doesn't go anymore and that's it. That means it's locked up. These, you know, it's still, there's a lot of play in there, but it doesn't take very much to lock it up. So, you know, for trials riding, it was pretty sweet. But until I changed the pad, it was getting really, really noisy, because the pads that come with it were just really not up to the task after a while for trials riding. But yeah, so that's the lever. One thing to be aware of, on the rears, I've got one loop in here. I don't know if you can see it from this angle. I've got one loop around for doing bar spins and stuff, which I still can't do, but in case I do want to. On a lot of like full suspension bikes nowadays, the way you have to route the brake cables, it might be a concern that this cable's not quite long enough, or it's not going to be as long as you would like it to be. So out of the box, you might have to get a longer cable, or a longer hose, sorry, to adjust it. But I think for most people, it'll be okay. But yes, it's definitely shorter than what comes with Magura for the rear, definitely. But it seems to be a pretty nice hose. You know, it's done great so far. It's very stiff. So I got the new pads for the Dominions. I got the metallic pads. They're top of the line pads. And when I was taking the old ones off, the ones that come with the Dominion, the A4, I noticed that there was a little bit of liquid or something on there. So I was like, uh-oh, maybe my caliper's leaking. So I cleaned it up. I couldn't see anything. So I put the new pads on, went out for a ride. Everything was fine for like the first 30 minutes or so. It was working great. Lots of power, you know, doing everything it was supposed to do. And then it started squealing again and losing power. So I figured it's probably leaky caliper. So I came home, took it apart. Yep, same thing. There's a little bit of liquid or something on there, and it wasn't water or sweat or anything, because it's in the back anyway. So I called up Hayes and I told them what was up. They told me to send it in. They actually wanted me to just send in the caliper, and I was like, "Can I send in the whole thing?" And they're like, "Yeah, okay." So I sent in the whole thing. That took a while, the communication back and forth. So I don't know. I'd really wish that my brand new brake would last more than a month before it needed to crap out. So then I just moved ahead to the next order of business, and I made myself a Shigura brake. I found a nice XT 8100 lever online for about 50 bucks maybe, and I've got plenty of MT5s laying around, so just snip the lever off, put the new lever on. It was really actually pretty easy. Rebleed it, and there you go, you got a Shigura. I've been riding that ever since. Just to be fair, I put new pads and a new rotor on the bike as well, just so it's an even playing field. It's been great. It does everything that I would imagine it should do. Honestly, I feel like at the end of the day, it's just another brake setup. I mean, it didn't blow me away. it's pretty nice. I mean, Shimano makes good stuff, and I guess people agree that the MT5 caliper is pretty darn good. So you put the two together, should be the best of both worlds, right? The lever's a little funny. Okay, so here we go. Here's the in the Shigura. This is a Shimano XT. I think it's the 8100 lever. It might be the 8000, the older model. Anyway, I think it's a different M8 fitting, so you have to use their lock nut and olive to put the hose in. I think. I'm not sure. I had it, so I used it. But I just cut the MT5 lever off and put their olive on and put their nut on, and this is just a little sleeve thing. You thread it on, you rebleed it, and there you go. And it's been great. I mean, there's like zero play in this lever. It's beautiful. The lever is pretty small. I don't know if you can get other levers for this. It's pretty adjustable. I mean, it's got you know, it's Shimano. You know, it's overthought in pretty much every way. The clamp for putting it on the bar is overthought. There's like a little safety release thing so that even if the nut comes loose, it won't come off of your bar. Which I guess if you're a downhiller, that makes sense and stuff. But hey, check your equipment occasionally. Anyway, yeah, it's overthought. The one thing that I don't like is it doesn't return as fast as the MT5. I can show you on the other side, the MT5. I mean, that looks pretty fast, and I've kind of like lubed it as much as I can to get it to be as fast as it can, but it doesn't release as fast as my MT5. And you know, it's locked up when you pull it to here. You know, it's like that's locked up. You know, which requires very little pressure. But you know, you can still pull the shit out of it, or you know, you can still pull the crap out of it. So I mean, if you're looking for something where you pull it and it stops, and that's where it's locked up, this isn't it, unfortunately. So you know, I mean, that takes a little bit getting used to if that's not what you're looking for. But it's been great. I mean, it does everything I've asked it to. The modulation is fine. The lever feel is great. The lever's pretty small, and you know, the levers are vastly different now between the MT5 and the XT over here. So if you like to have the same levers both sides, well, that's not going to happen unless you change out the other one. But it's really nice. I mean, like I said, there's no play in this. I don't think it has the top end power that the MT5 has, like when you really just lock it up, or when you're doing like drop gaps or you know, something really crazy. I don't think the Shigura holds up as well as just a regular good old top of the line MT5. But you know, I'm riding this for now. I'm probably just gonna go back to a regular MT5 without the HC3 levers or anything, just the old standard MT5, because I don't know, I kind of like that setup the best, really. But so far, I'm still riding the XT, the Shigura, and it's been going great. You know, I'm like, I mean, this looks like an alien autopsy gun or something. I mean, these levers are crazy looking, but it does get the job done. It's infinitely adjustable. I mean, there's so many adjustments on here. Yeah, it's great. It's working. It does what it's supposed to. You know, if you can get an MT5, the full setup for $100, and then this is another $50, and you bleed it maybe say $30. It's like, okay, you're looking at, you know, a pretty high-end brake system money-wise. If you have the pieces laying around and you just want to put it together, well, that makes it a little cheaper. But you know, if you're looking at it dollars and cents wise, yeah, I don't know. Just have fun with your brakes, play with them, make sure they work. Whatever kind of brake you have, get used to it, get used to bleeding it, get used to its adjustability. Because, you know, of the 3 brakes that we're talking about here, none of them are really crap, I don't think. Just get to know them, don't be afraid of them. Learn how to use them, learn how to adjust them, learn how to get the most out of them. And, you know, you'll probably be happy, unless you're just one of those people who aren't happy with whatever you have. So there's nothing I can do for you there. But I'm going to keep riding this for a little bit, and then I'll probably go back to just a regular old MT5, and the levers will be the same again. Okay, so I'm still running the MT5 on the front. This is my MT5 lever here. This hasn't been changed since the bike was new. Like, so this one's going on 2 years or so. But I mean, it's super fast return. And I just like that. And you know, obviously MT5,
everything, or what people most complain about is, you know, the play in these levers. And yeah, there's a lot of play in this lever. I've seen lots of people that have broken them in crashes and stuff. I don't know if it's their lever angle or what. I've never broken one, and I've been running them for like almost 10 years now, or however long they've been out. I've never broken a lever. I've never broken an HC3 that I've put HC3s on instead of the regular levers. But, you know, I mean, honestly, this play in the lever really doesn't bother me except when I do this. I've never really noticed it when I'm actually pulling, doing some crazy move or something. So, you know, yes, it's there. But it's just the pin holding it in, and, you know, whatever. So that's your basic MT5 lever, you know, $100 brake. The front's been great. I have no desire to change the front because it's perfect. But yeah, that's the difference between the MT5 and the Shigura here.
Alright, the beginning of this video and the end of this video are about 6 or 7 months apart now. A lot of things have changed. But I did get the Hayes back from Hayes. They sent me a brand new brake. I never actually ended up putting it on the bike. They sent me 3 different pads for it in a nice box. I mean, it was brand new. But I never ended up actually even putting it back on the bike. I sold both of them. So there's no more Hayes in my life. I was able to sell them for 120 again, so no loss. You know, I just washed my hands of the whole thing. I ended up getting rid of the Shigura as well, and putting my old MT5 lever back on. So I'm back to MT5s front and rear with the standard MT5 levers, and I really couldn't be happier. You know, they're both they're mineral oil, so I know how to bleed them. I don't have to change my bleed setup. It's back to what I'm used to. None of the other brakes blew me away. These brakes are fine. You know, I'm very familiar with them. I know the ins and outs of them, top to bottom. So I'm gonna keep riding these because ultimately I just want to ride and not worry about brakes. So no more exploring brakes for now. MT5s for the win, and yeah, let's get out there and ride.